In the vast skies of World War II, where death, courage, and innovation danced in a fiery symphony, one machine rose not from glory, but from necessity, the Consolidated B-24 Liberator. Its silhouette was not graceful like the Spitfire, nor as romanticized as the B-17 Flying Fortress, yet the B-24 was the true workhorse of the Allied bombing campaigns, the uncelebrated colossus that carried the war on its steel wings. Born from a desperate need for range and payload, the Liberator was conceived in the late 1930s when the U.S. Army Air Corps realized that global war demanded more than bravery, it demanded machines that could cross oceans and strike deep into enemy territory. This was not a time for elegance, it was a time for raw, industrial endurance. And so, in the hangars of Consolidated Aircraft in San Diego, engineer Isaac M. Lad Don and his team set out to build not just a bomber, but a symbol of American might in mass production. Its shape was utilitarian, its mission unforgiving, to carry more bombs, fly farther, and stay aloft longer than any bomber before it. When the first B-24 took to the skies in 1939, few could have imagined that this angular, box-bodied machine would go on to become the most produced heavy bomber in human history, a flying factory of destruction and endurance, built to outlast a world consumed by fire. The creation of the B-24 was an engineering revolution wrapped in urgency. The United States had not yet entered the war, but the tides of history were already turning. The Army Air Corps demanded a bomber faster and more efficient than the B-17, capable of intercontinental range. Consolidated responded with innovation, a high aspect ratio Davis wing, an elegant yet radical design that reduced drag and extended lift. This single feature gave the B-24 its extraordinary range, allowing it to patrol vast distances across oceans and continents. Its tricycle landing gear, unusual for its time, improved ground handling and gave it a modern stance. Under its aluminum skin roared four Pratt & Whitney R1830 twin Wasp engines, each capable of propelling the massive aircraft through the clouds at nearly 300 miles per hour, faster than most bombers of the era. But speed and efficiency came at a cost. The narrow wings that gave it range also made it unstable and difficult to handle at low speeds. Pilots quickly learned that flying the Liberator was an act of skill and nerve, landing it safely on short runways was a test of precision and composure. Yet, what it lacked in grace, it compensated in brute force. With twin bomb bays that could each carry 4,000 pounds of ordnance, the B-24 could deliver devastation across Europe, Africa, and the Pacific, reshaping the battlefield through endurance rather than beauty. The secrets behind its success were not born in elegance, but in industrial genius. While the B-17 was built like a tank, the B-24 was built like a factory, designed for mass production. When Henry Ford's Willow Run plant joined the war effort, it transformed aviation forever. Ford's assembly lines, which had once produced automobiles for the open road, were now rolling out bombers for the open sky. At the peak of production, one B-24 left the factory every 55 minutes, a staggering achievement that no other aircraft program in history could match. By the war's end, over 18,400 B-24s had been produced, a testament to America's unmatched capacity for industrial warfare. Its modular structure allowed parts to be built in multiple factories and assembled like a giant metallic puzzle, uniting the hands of thousands of workers, men and women alike, who forged freedom from rivets and steel. Yet, for all its production success, the Liberator was never loved by its crews the way the B-17 was. It was noisy, cramped, and prone to fires if hit in the wrong place. But it was also a survivor, and more importantly, a deliverer. The B-24 carried supplies to troops, dropped bombs on enemy fortresses, and even hunted submarines across the Atlantic. It was not designed for admiration, it was designed for victory. The true measure of the B-24's greatness was not in its design, but in the courage of those who flew it. Nowhere was this more evident than during Operation Tidal Wave, the daring low-level raid on the oil refineries of Ploiești, Romania, in August 1943. On that fateful day, 178 B-24s took off from Libya to strike at the heart of Nazi oil production. They flew barely above the treetops, where every gun and flak battery waited to tear them apart. The sky turned into a cauldron of black smoke and flame as entire formations were swallowed by anti-aircraft fire. Yet, the liberators pressed on. Through chaos and confusion, they unleashed destruction upon the refineries, crippling Germany's fuel supply. 30% of the attacking force was lost that day, but their bravery echoed through history as one of the most courageous air raids ever attempted. It was the perfect embodiment of the B-24's spirit, a machine that demanded everything from its crew and gave everything in return. In Europe, it flew side by side with the B-17, striking deep into enemy heartlands from bases in England and Italy. In the Pacific, it replaced the Flying Fortress entirely, its range making it indispensable in the fight against Japan. Across every theater of war, the B-24's presence was unmistakable, loud, relentless, and absolutely vital. The Liberator's reach was global, and so was its impact. In North Africa, it turned the tide of desert warfare. In the Atlantic, it became a submarine hunter, breaking the back of the German U-boat menace. Its long range allowed Allied convoys to cross the ocean under its watchful eyes, saving countless lives and ensuring the steady flow of supplies to Europe. Few aircraft could boast such versatility. It was a bomber, a patrol aircraft, a transport, even a flying ambulance when the war demanded it. The B-24's adaptability became its greatest strength. Compared to Britain's Avro Lancaster, it lacked refinement. Compared to Germany's Heinkel He-177, it lacked speed. But where others specialized, the Liberator generalized. It was everywhere, doing everything, from the Arctic Circle to the jungles of Burma. It became the face of Allied global reach, a flying embodiment of the idea that no place on Earth was beyond the touch of air power. Its contributions to anti-submarine warfare alone shortened the Battle of the Atlantic and secured the logistical arteries of the free world. Yet, behind its metal frame were the people who made it fly. The pilots, gunners, and bombardiers who endured the cold, the flak, and the endless fear of not returning home. Many of them were young, barely in their 20s, carrying out missions that tested both man and machine to their absolute limits. They nicknamed it the Flying Boxcar or the Tin Castle, half in affection, half in frustration. The controls were heavy, the fuselage drafty and loud, and the odds of survival often slim. Still, they flew. They joked, they prayed, and they fought their way through the storm. Back home, in the roaring furnaces of Willow Run, thousands of workers, many of them women stepping into industrial roles for the first time, built these giants with sweat and pride. Every rivet was a statement of defiance, every finished aircraft a promise to bring someone home alive. The B-24 was more than a bomber, it was a living testament to what humanity could achieve when united by purpose, fear, and hope. As the war ended, the B-24's roar faded. The world moved on to jets, and the Liberator's days of dominance came to a close. Most were scrapped, melted into the very peacetime prosperity they had helped secure. Yet, their legacy endured. The lessons learned from its mass production, aerodynamics, and modular design paved the way for future giants, from the B-52 Stratofortress to modern stealth bombers. In the long shadow of the Cold War, the B-24's DNA lived on in every aircraft designed for endurance and reach. It taught engineers that victory was not always about perfection, but about reliability, numbers, and persistence. Its spirit can still be seen in the skies during airshows, where the few remaining Liberators fly as ghosts of a bygone age, silver wings glinting under the sun, whispering stories of bravery and endurance to new generations who never knew the cost of freedom. And so, the B-24 Liberator remains a paradox, both forgotten and immortal, unloved yet indispensable. It may never receive the cinematic fame of the B-17 or the poetic admiration of the Spitfire, but it carried the burden of victory with silent dignity. It was the bomber that made global warfare possible, the machine that stitched continents together through courage and sacrifice. Perhaps that's the true meaning of Liberator, not just a name, but a legacy. A machine that liberated not only nations, but humanity's belief in its own resilience. As we look to the future, where drones and stealth aircraft define warfare, one question remains: in a world obsessed with precision, can we still appreciate the power of persistence, the kind of persistence that built the B-24 and changed the world forever?